Today starts a brand new series where I react to the producer community tips I find on social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. We're going to react to you guys' tips that you're giving to the producer community. First up, we got Simon Servita in this FL Studio ranked match where he says he's getting sweaty. Okay, so I'm going to break down this video when he's doing like hotkeys and stuff so you guys can actually learn.
Come on, C minor.
Okay, so when he says C minor, he's reading the amount of notes in this scale, and he's also talking about, it looks like he's playing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's playing fourths right now in that melody.
Good, passing note, good.
All right, so then he calls it a passing note. He's using half tones, not to break it all the way down into music theory, but if you zoom in, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives you that tritone. So he's using a tritone as a passing tone to move him to the next chord type. You guys didn't expect these tips to be broken down, but I'm going to break it down for you. So the first chord, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's called a perfect fourth. Then we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's called a perfect fifth. So he's stacking fourths and fifths over top of each other. And then he's using that tritone on the second chord to pass into the next chord.
Good.
So that's how he can methodically go through this, because once you learn the music theory principles about what makes something harmonize, what makes something in key, what makes something out of key, then you can quickly go in and literally count and figure out how to add melodies and notes and chords. That's what I teach at busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. This is why he's going so fast.
Okay.
Right now he's adding a bass line here. He's just using that fourth for the bass. I don't know how he did the slide note so quick, but in FL Studio, when you double click a note, you could actually switch it to a slide note. I'm not sure if he's using a shortcut or if there was another menu that popped up. Pretty sure just another menu popped up that we didn't see.
Not bad.
So shout out to all the speed runners out there, Rob included. That's the tresillo pattern. For those who don't know, let me run that back. This right here is tresillos. Dum, 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 dum. You see how all these patterns that I teach you guys are being applied in this video right now. You have perfect fourths, perfect fifths. They always harmonize. Tresillo pattern right here for the, I believe the hi-hats or the 808. I can't tell what the sound is, but that's how he knows it will work. Oh, they're hi-hats.
That might cost me a
Alt
bit.
U does that hi-hat chop that he just did very fast. If you highlight a note, hit Alt plus U, it will do those hi-hats like that.
I think I'll be okay.
Then he's adding in the snares, it
Right,
looks
done.
like.
Whew, not bad. Okay. Fun little intro, as usual. And some of this.
So what he did to arrange real quick, to run that back, he's using the chords, which I've been teaching you guys. Use the harmony to introduce the mood of the song. Usually your melodic textures are introduced, and then you drop it into the bass. The bass kind of tells the listener, here's where the song starts, for the most part, and your drums. And he's using that transient crash. Simon's funny. And he's using that transient crash.
Here's how to use the OpenAI chatbot to find samples. This is crazy. So all you have to do is go to the ChatGPT bot, type in exactly what you want. I want 5 songs with female vocals, no drums, ambient, and not popular. And just
All right, so firstly, he's using ChatGPT to find samples, not necessarily find the audio, but find the titles of the samples.
watch this. Like, I can't believe that we're at this stage.
All right, so he says, here are 5 songs, excuse me, he says, find me 5 songs with female vocals with no drums. That is, I didn't see the rest of his prompt. That is something. That is, and it is ambient and is not, man, hot. I don't even know what he said on that last thing. He didn't zoom in, and is not popular. Okay, so basically he's looking for samples with vocal, female performance with no drums, ambient, and is not popular. But this is cool. But now we have tools like Serato Sample where you could separate the vocal. Even if it's not a vocal based track, you could still separate the vocal. That's why Serato Sample is goated, because it can do so much with samples. Basically, all your samples in your sample library are now 4x'd. Okay, you have 4 times the samples. I'm gonna skip this one because it has music in it. All right, here's Eldre. So here, this is an example of how producers should be marketing I think we get too caught up in thinking that we have to just upload a beat and that's marketing. This is marketing. So what he's doing is framing his content. It's content. He's framing his content using a trend, I guess on TikTok in this case, which is, the moment where you, this is what comedians do. They take simple moments of our life and they exaggerate it and they make jokes out of it. So what he's doing right now was a TikTok trend where they took a moment that happens all the time. You're washing your hands and then water splashes on your phone. And then that water activates some button and then that activates another button. And then the phone's doing its own thing because the water is activating the screen. So he made a joke out of this. But as he's demonstrating the joke, he embedded his music. And this is a good way to understand how marketing works. You got to give people the brownie. Your music is the medicine inside of the brownie. Your content, your message. Let me turn this music off. It's just loud for no reason. Okay. So your music and content is the thing giving life to the content. All right, so let's. So here he goes through. So he's basically frame by frame showing his process of making a song, but he's acting like the water did it. So that's how you have to start thinking. It's not just how to upload a video of the screen or upload a photo of a famous artist and then play your beat. You have to think, how do I make this palatable and relatable to the current market where they are? How do I fit this into a trend? How do I spin it? It's called spin, art of spin. The keywords and the traffic that's popular right now, how do we embed our thing into that conversation? That's how you need to start thinking in 2024, not just upload a beat, put a picture of famous artist, and they call it type beat. That's not the only way to market in 2024. I know people say you can still do type beats, but marketing requires more than just uploading the product. So he's demonstrating his beat right here. So that's marketing. Okay, that's why Eldre is Eldre, because he understands how to market his song. So the shortcut is think of. So here's a tip I did some months ago, or years ago. I don't even know how long. So basically, it's explaining how sound works. I'll just play it and then we'll comment. Whoops. So the shortcut is think of sounds like objects in a room. You could pan them to the right or to the left to move them out of the way. The lower the volume, the further back in the room they are. The higher the volume or perceived loudness, the closer they are to you. That was part of the clip because that wasn't the full video. But the point is, think about sound like objects in a room. Think about low frequency sounds like big people that are wide. Think about high frequency sounds like thin people. So when you try to move those objects around the room, if you have your hi-hats panned to the left, they're literally over there in the room and they're a thin person. Now, if you have two big people, aka two bass elements trying to fit in the middle of the room, they're going to clash because their bodies are clashing. And when you understand that concept about sound, how it's eating up a physical room, it makes so much more sense. The lower the volume, the further it is away. And that's basically how mixing works in a nutshell. So that was a video I did a while ago, a little tidbit. Me showing my friends. So basically people, that's how, speaking about the Eldre thing, that's how people present their type beats. They present it as if we should just listen to the beat just because you uploaded it to the platform, but that's not what marketing is. Marketing is figuring out a way to have the conversation and then embed your thing within that conversation strategically to where it's not seen as forced upon the audience. Here we have Wavy Wayne making some really good tips about recording.
These are some of the top mistakes made in the home studio. Yeah, turn me up. All right, turn me up. Yeah,
So this, when people ask me about gain staging, this is what we're talking about. Gain staging is the art of not clipping going in, because once you clip into the machine, it distorts it to where you can't undo the distortion without all these complex techniques, which you can do technically, but it still won't have that resolution. The way computers work, in short, is that your speakers produce the back and forthness. They're generating the waveform. So if you turn the speaker sideways, you'll see the actual waveform. Is it a sine wave where it's going like this? Is it a pulse wave where it's going on, off? So the inward and outwardness of the speaker is replicating the waveform that's in the computer. And my point in saying that is, once you start to clip, you turn your circular stuff into more square, pulsating stuff, and it chops off a lot of the curvature. And the way our computer works is that it works off of floating numbers, they're called, or float, and it's generating a bunch of numbers per millisecond. Okay, so that's how audio works. It's generating a bunch of numbers. Now, if the number goes from 0.511997777 to just 1 all the time, you're not going to get the detail of the vocal. And that's what clipping is. You lose a lot of the detail going into. So if you clip going in, my point is you can't undo it, because how do you take a 1 and figure out where it should be? Okay, it's convoluted. I know I'm making it super overgeneralized, but the point is when you clip going in, you can't undo it.
All
As
right.
far as I know, there's 32-bit and all that, but we're not going to get into that.
Turn me up. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh, that might be too loud. I got to turn it back down. Let me turn it back down. Turn it back down. Turn it back down.
All right, so this is gain staging. So figuring out that level where you can record to where you're not picking up background noise. The mic's not too loud to where you're distorting. That's what gain staging is finding that sweet spot. The same thing is if you guys boost up your kicks in the FL Studio sampler, when you boost it too much and you put the clip on, it starts to sound like poof, 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 and it sounds boxy and it sounds weak. That's because you're pushing the clipping too hard. Like there's a point where the clipping turns into just not good distortion, but there's a sweet spot where you push it into a little bit of clipping and it sounds good. So gain staging is figuring out where do you push the level to sound good before it starts sounding bad. And how do you turn the level up to where it doesn't sound so quiet to where you're not even picking up the vocal? And what happens when you record too low is that when you go to turn stuff up, you're now hearing the background noise even louder, okay, because of the noise floors and everything.
Turn it back down.
Especially when compression.
I don't want to hear myself in the headphones. It sounds like it's an echo or something. I'm going to turn me down.
All right, so here he's demonstrating the audio buffer size. So a good audio buffer size offline is 88 samples. Now, when I'm in, doing video and stuff, we can't record at 88 because the computer will just blow up. So I recorded 128 samples in FL Studio with video recorders and stuff like that. Now, if you're in mixing mode, you want to go up to at least 1024 samples because it gives the computer enough time to read the audio. In short, the computer has to process audio very fast. So if it's trying to do all this stuff in milliseconds, it cramps up and it has what's called a bottleneck. Okay, so you have to basically give it time to read the audio and then process so that it doesn't get jumbled up. It's like 1,000 people trying to go through one door. Okay, so when you up the buffer size, it's like making the door wider, basically.
But why I keep sounding like I'm only coming out of one side?
This is why I see so much people recording in stereo, podcast hosts, all types of people. It is one thing you got to get right on YouTube and social media is the audio. So please, everybody who makes podcast content, at least pull your audio to mono, summit to mono, because that left-right like microphone feed is just distracting and it's very hard to hear people that way. So when you're recording in FL Studio, you're recording in Pro Tools, make sure you're recording on a mono track or a centered track. Basically, mono just means one source. Stereo means full body, meaning, if you're recording stereo, it's going to be like overhead mics where it's like a zigzag pattern like that. Most people aren't recording stereo anything, okay, unless you're recording like Foley or something like that. So 99% of the time, you're going to be recording mono, okay? That's just how it works. So if your thing's on stereo, that's for synthesizers and other audio like that, like full song.
Man, I hate Pro Tools, man. This stuff ain't right. I'm about to go use FL. Here I go. I'm about to pop up on the scene. I'm letting them know I got that go.
All right, so right now he's so close on the mic that everything is pronounced, not pop up on the scene. I have filters on, but when you say P close to the mic, you trigger the microphones. It's a heavy transient, and then you get this distortion in the microphone called a plosive. And so one way you can prevent that is add a pop filter, which is on his mic. Now, some people tell you to do this from your microphone. You should be at least this far away from your microphone. If you're hugging the microphone like this, you're 21 Savage, Pop Smoke. Some rappers do get up on the microphone, but they understand how to use their voice to where they're not going to distort the mic. Again, the goal is to not distort the mic. That is the goal. Do not distort the mic. Now, if you back up to about here, you're going to give time for the room to compress your vocals. You're going to pick up the room. You're not just recording your vocals, you're recording your vocal and the room that you're in or the environment that you're in. So the more you back up, the more compressed your vocal is going to sound. The more up on the mic, the more low tones you're going to get because lower frequencies are going to be a lot easier to be heard on the mic. Okay, so let's keep going. When you're closer, I should say.
I got that flow. I'm on that mic. I'm on that mic. I'm on that throne. I'm on that mic. Okay. It was hot up in here.
The background noise is another thing about producers too. So here's where you got to use noise gates or record, use recording. What are those called? Like blankets. Okay. To where it deadens the background sound. Travis Scott recorded under a blanket. There's different solutions out there. GIK Acoustics, portable isolation booth. That's a very, very good solution. I have it in the corner over there, plus some blankets over top of that. So it just gets rid of the background room. I'm in a very big room, so it's a lot of easy reverb that can bounce around. And I don't feel like paneling every little inch of this room. So in that case, I'm using a portable isolation booth with a blanket over top to make sure that the vocal doesn't bounce off the walls and come back into the mic. Most people think that when you record, you're going to have, you're recording just your vocal. You're actually recording your vocal and the room. And so they think that their vocal just goes forward. Your vocals actually go every direction, and then it bounces off of every direction and comes back into the mic. So there's no such thing as a one directional vocal. I think that's the myth that a lot of folks have. Let's go to this next video here. Let me see. It says, how'd you learn? All right. So it says, how'd you learn producing so fast? Shout out to Produced by Fall X, if I'm saying that right, or Falix. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But shout out to Produced by Falix. He shouted me out. It says how you learn producing so fast. So keyword fast. All right, BusyWorks Beats, BeatStars. Oh, wait. I missed it was the second one. Shout out to Nick Muir. He says, how'd you see, what is it? How'd you see success from producing already? BeatStars. Okay, so he's basically saying, how'd you learn producing so fast? BusyWorks Beats. And then he said, how'd you see success already? And then he's shouting out BeatStars and then Nick Muir. All right, so shout out to Nick Muir, Internet Money, folks. This is a marketing video. I'm gonna skip that one for now. All right, so here's some chords that we can just learn from. It says learning beautiful R&B chord progression. Okay, so also if you want to take this to a different degree, you could take these videos, extract the audio using like CapCut, which is completely free, render out the audio, import it into FL, and then run it through Melodyne to learn even more about the voicing of these chords. So it's not just the chord type, it's the voicing of the chords. Do that for all the old R&B songs. You'll learn so much about music theory and how they voice chords. Take the audio, run it through Melodyne or Newtone or, what's the other one? Revoice Pro? I forget the one. I use Melodyne, and then you could look at the polyphony of the notes. It reads all the notes, and then you just study the chord voicing that way. So it says learning beautiful R&B chords, chord progression. All right, I'm gonna play it and then I'll run back on the chords. So what's key though is that dun 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 dun. That part is key to this chord progression. I'm not going to get into the weeds of everything because I would have to show you my screen. But B flat 7 sharp 11. These are called altered chords. Now, usually altered chords are talking about dominant chords, but I'm just speaking on the concept of moving a note up or down. Basically, is what I'm trying to describe. Okay, so here we have the B flat 7 chord. So you'll notice a lot of 7th chords in R&B. And then we add this melodic note. I think the 11th is more of a melodic note. So when we say sharp 11, really to me, that's the melody note over top of a B flat 7th chord. Now this is a dominant 7th chord. So that's why I'm calling it an altered chord, because it's not major or minor. And now I didn't map out the notes, so I'm assuming he's naming this chord right. But whenever you see the like C and then 7, it's a dominant 7th chord. It's not a major or a minor chord. It's actually both combined, but that's a different conversation. So when you see the sharp 11, sharp 9, that's talking about the melodic note. Okay, so here we have the A in a triangle. That means A major. Now I want you to look closely as to how he's voicing this chord. You can kind of see it, but you kind of can't. So A major, let's see what notes. Where is the A that he's even playing? I don't know if he... Okay, so the A is in the left hand. All right, so you guys might not be able to see it, but the A is in the left hand. This is something I'm learning when I'm starting to play piano more, is something about when you spread the chords into your left and right hand. Like you'll play the bass note in the left hand or the root note in the left hand, and then play the chord, top end of the chord in your right hand. The chord sounds way different than if you just played all the notes, all the way up the keyboard, A, C, E, G, in a row. It sounds a lot thinner than if you spread your left hand, taking A and then moving it to the left hand, maybe backing it up with an octave and playing all those notes. It just sounds different. So try that with your chords. It's something that transformed my chord writing. And then you see on top, he's mapping out. He's inverting a couple notes here. So we have A, 1, 2. Yeah, he's inverting 2 of the notes. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, 6, 7. So he's playing the 3rd and the 5th normally. He's playing the A in his left hand, but then he's playing the, what would that be? The let me see here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's playing the dang, what is it? The 11? Forgive me, y'all. My brain stuttered for a second. He is playing the major 7th in his right thumb, and then he's playing the 9th, if I'm counting right off the top of my head. So he's adding 2 notes, which really this is not just a major chord. This is actually a major 9th chord inverted down. So he's taking the 7th and the 9th, pulling them down so they're playable. Okay, so that's why it sounds so lush. So this is not identified properly. That'd be, hold on, let me go back. I'm getting so geeky for no reason. 11, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that's technically a major 9th. And then he's playing the 7th and the 9th. All I'm saying, y'all, here's the lesson for today. Instead of playing the notes, I wish I had FL loaded. I do have FL loaded up. Okay, here, I'll just do it in real time. So I want you guys to hear. I think I have I don't have my MIDI. Never mind, it's not plugged up. But basically what I'm saying is, instead of playing all the notes in a row, A, C, E, G, like that. That's a 7th chord. You can take the A, move it down an octave, and now with the right hand, the same fingers that you would be using, you could insert the extensions to that chord with your right hand. So you're playing the chord extensions with your thumb and your pointer finger, and you're playing the root in your left hand. So that allows you to play big chords really easily. I'll make a separate video about it. I don't want to keep going on and on and on. But that's a different way of voicing your chords for R&B. Whenever you see alt like that, that's an altered chord, dominant chord. So notice a lot of dominant chords. Let me go back here. So we have the dominant chord. I'm assuming I didn't count out all the notes here. And then we're moving into A major 9th, technically. And then we're moving into G sharp 7, which is a dominant chord. So the sharp 7 is representing when you have a dominant chord and you're altering something about it, one of the notes. So in this case, he's altering the 7th. Usually you're going to alter the 5th or the 9th. There's no rule for it. There's no rule for it, but try the 5th and the 9th, and also try altering the 5th and the 7th, or excuse me, the 7th and 11th. Okay, so because the way you write chords is you skip a note and so for example, when you alter a 5th and a 9th, I'm sorry, I'm going so deep in the music there. When you alter a 5th and a 9th, the note in between the 5th and the 9th is the 7th. So you're skipping a note before you're altering the next note. Now think about the same way, starting at the 7th. The 7th, when you skip the 9th, you go to the 11th. So you're altering notes that are spaced by one chord extension. That's for more advanced people to even know what the heck I'm talking about. But just notice how many altered chords are in here, how many dominant chords. So I'm just going to quickly skim through and then we'll move to the next video. Dominant chord, major chord. Now B flat is just below B. And this is what's called a tritone substitution. We teach this at busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. So technically this chord is the dominant chord of the next chord, but it's transposed down 6 semitones, or a tritone. So whenever you see a note that's like just above the next chord note, so B flat is just above A. So when it's resolving into A, you have that tritone substitution sound, which is that half step. And technically you can raise this B flat 7 up 6 semitones. And that would make it, what is that? B flat 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would make it E, which is going to be the dominant chord for A. So in jazz and R&B, you have a lot of dominant to tonic resolution. So it's dominant, tonic, dominant, tonic. I used to overlook the dominant chord all the time. I was like, who uses it? Who cares? But now I understand how powerful it is. So I don't want you guys to overlook the dominant chords. So it's dominant chord, tritone substitution back into A. Again, if I'm speaking music theory and ease, just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. I teach all this stuff step by step. Okay, and then dominant chord, tonic chord. Now I'm assuming that's dominant chord. I just guessed. C7. Yeah, just above B. So yep. That's the half step movement. Okay, so that's the key there. All right, next up we got J Dilla chords. Now notice in this one, he's using a lot of suspended chords. All right, let me play that one more time. So when people tell me chord extensions aren't important, I mean, it makes some of the greatest hip hop songs you've heard. Shout out to Jay Dilla, RIP. All right, this guy's is a monster. He has so many videos. His name is Musician Paradise. So if you guys want to study the chord structures of a lot of big songs, study his page. I'm going to skip some of his videos because there's so many. I have like 10 of them saved. In oceans. That was amazing.
TikTok, dude.
Actually, let me.
Greatest hack on entrepreneurs' name.
This is Ty Lopez. If you guys want inspiration and just somebody who understands business on a high level that's willing to help people like us, Ty Lopez is the go-to. I know he has so much hate online. I think it's honestly people who just aren't business people, who don't understand business, just hating on him just because. Because Ty Lopez drops the most gems out of all of the top guys, whether it's Grant Cardone, whether it's Gary Vee, whether it's who's another guru type person. Alex Hormozy. Now, we'll say Alex Hormozy gives like the step-by-step. Then he started getting into mass marketing and like the message got watered down a little bit. But he does have step-by-step how to build infrastructure. So Alex Hormozy and Ty Lopez, if there's two people to learn from on how to build a business online, it's these two. I used to think Dan Pena was good, but he'll get your mindset right, but you got to be careful with that, his mindset. Okay. But he'll definitely get you productive, I should say. Okay, so this is Ty Lopez, the biggest hack ever discovered.
TikTok.
I would say this is a production tip because you'll hear.
Dude, the greatest hack on entrepreneurs' brains was the Chinese. They figured something out. Let somebody be a celebrity from a day and they're hooked like a crack addict. So everybody's on Instagram. They got their 8,000 followers. They're posting a video. It gets, 147 likes. Then TikTok came out. They'd post the same video over there. And TikTok, the Chinese, I could just imagine, Chinese are cunning as a culture, right? As a cunning culture, the art of war, the art of war, Sun Tzu. So the cunning is like, Sun Tzu says, the greatest general wins without fighting. So how do you win against Instagram without fighting? Become a drug dealer. It's a great business model. What's your drug? Dopamine. How do people experience dopamine? Recognition. So you post that.
All right, let me stop here. So this is how the whole music industry works, is recognition. This is the currency, the value that people get from their opportunities. I saw a recent video with Dame Taylor talking about how he described how basically a lot of the YouTube videos, what they'll do is they'll teach a technique, for example. And I know I'm butchering this, so forgive me, to Dame. I'm paraphrasing because I only saw it once off your live stream. But basically, he was saying how younger producers will have good intent to try to help other producers. They'll give a production hack or how to get a placement type video. And then what will happen is, they'll give a tip and then it'll flood somebody's email. I've had this happen. You guys could check Twitter right now. But a lot of that is misinformation, but neither here nor there. And so a lot of people will go flood that artist's email, and now it makes it even harder to get opportunities because everybody is trying to go through the same door, basically, is what I'm saying. And he was mentioning how some producers are willing to undercut other producers. And when they do that, they think they're going to have more opportunity later. But the problem is when you come into the door saying, I'll do it for less, or I'll do it for free, or I'll give you 100 beats for free, in the future, you think that the artist is going to say, okay, today I'm going to pay you $10,000 because you've given me so much stuff for free. I'm going to pay you now. And he was basically saying how that's not how things work. And I agree. If reciprocity isn't there in the beginning, it's not going to be there in the end. I've worked with $4 billion companies, Avid. I've worked with Sweetwater. I've worked with the Razer on the Razer Music campaign and they're made with Blade. And I've worked with the Near Protocol and Web3. And I can tell you, if you're not treated a certain way in the beginning, it's not going to be that way in the end. And I'm talking about as far as your value that you offer that specific company. I made companies, I don't even know how many millions and millions, I don't know. But the point is, are they going to reciprocate that in the beginning? Because in the future, when they change staff, when they change marketing campaigns, when they change direction, they may not honor everything that you've done. So nothing's guaranteed, but I'm saying that the people that I've built with the fastest always reciprocate like in milliseconds because it's an energy balance. Okay. So when you give somebody an energy, you resonate with them on an energy, you send your energy to somebody, you help build their vision. It's just natural to want to ping pong that energy back to create balance. You know, +1 balances with -1. Okay. Let's continue. But all I was saying was, oh, here's what I was saying about the Dame Taylor thing is that a lot of producers are not worried about the money. They want recognition. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. That's their value. So they're willing to take less money, take no money, do stuff for free because they're like, oh, I'll be in the studio with Lil Baby. That's all I want is to be recognized by Lil Baby. I think a lot of music producers and artists alike are celebrity worshiping, and that's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. That's creating an idol. That's one of the commandments is to not create idols. And that's why I have it in my producer Bible. If you go to busyworksbeats.com/book, you'll get the producer Bible for free. It's basically biblical parables rephrased so that you can understand them as a music producer. And these parables are strong and they're powerful teachings. And so one of them is just, in the first part of the book, it gives you the 10 commandments, but respun in the producer community. Thou shalt not have gods before me, meaning God, okay, not me, the author. And then another one says, do not make producers idols. Do not make celebrities idols. Because what we're doing is doing anything just to be recognized, and you're giving up yourself to be just acknowledged. Okay, so that's a long story, but basically that's how the music industry works, is my point, is that, a lot of people are doing this just for a look, like quite literally a look. Okay.
7 like video, and they're like, every dog gets his day. It's his day. That post, let it have 60,000 views. Yeah. Dudes are like, TikTok fucking rules. And then they destroy your engagement from then on. But they also know, they're smart, they're cunning. They're like, the crack addict, if we give him his rush, but then nothing goes viral for like 3 months, then he's gonna leave TikTok and go back to Instagram. So let's set the algorithm. Every dog gets his day about every 42 posts. Yeah. So the dude is hooked like crack. It's like, I gotta post again. So they get insane amount of people posting. And remember, there's only so many eyeballs in this world. There's only 2 billion people online. So you can't give everybody 1 million views per post. But they're like, new accounts, we're gonna give them a drug dope. And they probably mathematically charted it off. Talk about a decay function. How long do you stay loyal to something without a dopamine drug rush? So they probably, I can see Chinese PhDs sitting there, 600 of them working for the machine. And it's like, we've calculated the golden number. It's 47.3.
So I want to make a comment. Oh, it's almost over. All right. So Tai Lopez is, again, extremely genius. One of the only people who shares information because he's just great at business and he's willing to share a lot of stuff. So for that alone, infinitely indebted because he's just a great teacher. So firstly, though, what he's speaking about is the bait and switch technique for all social media. This is not just TikTok. What they do is they give you the gold rush of the social media platform. This is when everybody's getting success. Reels were taken off. Reels were monetized. Facebook monetized videos. And then what happened? Once they got people hooked to posting the content, then they took away the monetization, and now you're hooked because now you've built an audience that you feel like you owe an audience because you built it. Now the audience is expecting stuff from you, but because they took away the monetization from Reels and lowered the Facebook monetization, now you're working for free. So they paid you in the beginning, but now over time you're working for free. And that's what happens with these platforms using bait and switch technology. TikTok is the same. I've noticed this with TikTok. I don't have all the statistics on TikTok. But in the beginning of TikTok, when it was the gold rush, everybody was getting 50,000, video or views of video and all types of stuff. Now you post, you might get 1,000 views or 4,000 views, maybe. Some hit here and there to 15K, 20K, but they're not really going as high as they used to go. That could be a content issue. It could be just the fact that it's saturated. But there's a lot of reasons why these platforms wanted to make people feel like they're celebrities. Because if you look at short form versus long form, short form, the reason it was so popular is because everybody has access to just their phone and their angle. Whereas YouTube, you had to do it horizontally. You had to know video editing. You had to do all this stuff. And it made YouTube and long form horizontal videos very difficult. There was still that bar of quality to jump over before you hop straight into YouTube. If you notice, a lot of short form guys aren't translating over to long form. Like there's a ton of short form content creators out there who just aren't getting that long form success. You want long form success because that's how you display your personality, your expertise. That's how you become an authority. There are outliers here and there who have millions of followers on TikTok and they become a brand. But the most, you could have 1 million followers on TikTok and make $0. Okay, so that's the reality that a lot of people are realizing is that, wow, they built all this short form influence, but you can't do anything with it. Okay, and that's the tricky part about short form. So basically what Tai Lopez is saying is the way TikTok approached it was make everybody think they could win the lottery. And then once they win the lottery, so to speak, they'll think they could win the lottery again. So they keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And it's never going to, it's programmatically not going to happen. Maybe every, 42 days or something. Okay, let's keep moving though. Not to be dismal. It's just to show you guys, you got to know where to build your enterprise. Okay, short form is just a way to get, to build your reach so that more people can see you. And then you lead them to long form. You don't just stay at short form. Okay, next up, I think this is a production video. It's a horizontal video, so that's something different. This is like a meme. Some guy was playing FL Studio on his, what is that, Nintendo, looks like.
And you're working hard to put food on your family. I know the human being.
I just thought those were funny.
So a big music industry report came out this week that you may not be aware of, so I wanted to point it out to you. In a nutshell, big changes are coming to the industry. As you know, I don't usually share things here that you can Google yourself. Most of this is strategy.
Why do people use freaking super popular songs? That means other people can't share your thing because of copyrights. So I had to keep pausing this. All right, let's see what he has to say.
And career development here on this page. However, I do want to at least notify you of key things that you should be.
All right, this guy's taking too long. What I'll do is I'll skim through because he's playing Tupac. Google Music in the Air, Goldman Sachs report. Okay, what does that mean? The financial giant basically takes an in-depth look into the future of music. Now we're talking about the music industry, meaning streaming, record labels, all that type of stuff. He's not accounting for the creator economy with this report. That's the part that I'm trying to show you guys is you need to become a part of the creator economy. The music industry might go up to 37 billion. Cool. The creator economy is going to be 100+ billion. Why would you focus all your energy on music when you can be a creator that does music? It makes more sense, in my opinion. Okay, he says one of the takeaways, I'm going to skim through this. Quotable quotes was where the researchers wrote, "We believe the music industry is on the cusp of another major structural change. That won't happen till Web3, in my opinion. Given the persistent under monetization of music content, that's still not going to change much because the money has to come from somewhere. You can't just up everybody's streaming value. Then where's the money going to come from? It has to come from people who subscribe. If the price gets too high for subscribers, they're going to cancel. So where's the money coming from to begin with as far as streaming rates? Outdated streaming royalty payment structures. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And the development of generative AI. They already established, I had a conversation with Donald Passman. He talked about how AI will be considered a different tier of music to where it's separated from the mainstream type stuff. And because it can't be copyrighted because it's AI generated, it will have its own thing. The problem though, even though it can't be copyrighted and whatever, is that generative AI music still takes the attention away from humans and human-made music. So even though you can't monetize it, it's not copyrightable, you still have the issue of the attention being diverted and distracted over to AI. So that is a real issue in 2024. All right, read the report. Okay. I had to skip that one. I had to skip that one because it was Tupac song underneath. Describe any vulnerabilities you may find in the following code. All right, so this is, I think, them showing AI. Let me turn this down just a little bit. It's a little loud. Hold up, y'all.
This is our future.
How about this? I mean, computer code, that's just a type of language. So you can say, and this is a real example that I tried, GPT, find me a security vulnerability, then write some code to exploit it. So I posted in some
So basically what he's showing is the power of AI. Everybody thinks AI is just this thing to try to mimic real life. But what it is something way bigger. It can do things that we can't even tell it to do because it's machine learning. So it sees patterns that humans can't even articulate through communication or intent.
This is from like a mail server. And I said, please find any exploits and describe any vulnerabilities in the following code, then write a script to exploit them. And in around 10 seconds, that was the code to exploit it.
So basically what he's saying is the same way you have snake venom and you have the antidote, you can create code and create the anti-code to go against the code. And the reason that's important, or not, you know, is significant, I should say, is because the way computer security works is that, I forget, I think it's SHA-256. Don't quote me. This is not a scientific research paper. I just going off a rough memory. SHA-256 basically created a defense mechanism against people who use computers to just keep brute forcing things. So what they would do, you know, I don't know the hacking culture and all that, but basically hackers would just try to brute force 1 try, 2 try, 3 tries, all the way up to 1 million tries. And now that quantum computers have arrived, you now have a computer that can do millions and I don't even know the actual number, but I'm going to say trillions of tries per hour, per minute, per second. I don't know the exact calculation, but it's exponentially greater than where it was before. And so the problem with that is now you can build a wall that's 10 foot, but now the computer can build a machine that's 20 foot and it can knock that 10-foot wall over. So even though you have a wall of security that could be 50 feet high, you have a monstrous AI machine that's 100 feet that can knock that wall over. So if the AI machine capabilities are always higher than the wall, you can't truly defend any copyrights, any code, any security, any database. And that's why this is important. Okay. So imagine it. Let me rephrase it for music producers. Omnisphere. If Omnisphere can get cracked, any plugin can get cracked. If Facebook can get hacked, any plugin can get cracked. Okay. And the point is, if you make a plugin, you spend all this time with it, IP, intellectual property, copyrights, et cetera, it's your trademark brand. And then somebody comes by to crack it and sell it on their website. Now you have a competitor because they figured out your code, your antidote of your code. So that's exactly what's happening in this example.
It is not yet the case that you can ask an AI to hack a Wi-Fi router. You can see in the double exponential, whether it's 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, at some soon point, it becomes easy to turn all of the physical hardware that's already out there into kind of the ultimate surveillance.
Now, one thing for you all to get is that these might look like
so
separate demos. Like, oh, there's some
Big
people
Brother
over here
type
that are
stuff.
building some specialized AI for hacking Wi-Fi routers. And there's some people over here building some specialized AI for inventing images from text. But the reason we show in each case the language of English and computer code, of English and images, of space, is that this is all, everyone's contributing to one kind of technology that's going like this. So even if it's not everywhere yet and doing everything yet, we're trying to give you a sneak preview of the capabilities that and how fast they're growing, so you understand how fast we have to move if we want to actually start to steer and constrain it. Now,
basically, okay, this is like computer geekinese, but basically he's saying that even if one person doesn't build the entire vehicle, if one person builds the engine, one person builds the exhaust, one person makes the tires, one person makes the wheels. They all made a piece of the car, and that network of things generates this AI machine that they're talking about. So it goes into depth. I don't have time for all the context. The point was AI is a lot deeper than people think. All right, here's another clip.
Separate your real life and this. I'm very proud.
All right, these are just clips that I just had from months and months ago. This one's from September 14th, 2023. So I don't even remember what Drake is saying here. It says, I don't trust anybody in this business if they had their way out. Okay, so.
You have to be able to separate your real life and this. I'm very proud of my real life and the character judgment that I've used throughout the years that I've spent on this earth. Nobody that I've ever considered a true friend has switched up. But these fly-by-night people that you just come across, they're all not to be trusted. I don't trust none of them. I'm not naive. I'm not out here being like, yo, it's not buddy-buddy, man. This is war.
Oh, wait, let me go back. Hold up. This is from Drake. I just want y'all to understand.
Out here being like, it's not buddy-buddy, man. This is war, man. Just like anything else. It's like sports, just like whatever it is. If you're in accounting, we're playing for keeps, bro. It's not a joke to me. I've seen people.
That's how I treat business. It's like people want to be all. Now, I'm very collaborative when it comes to people. In fact, content creators that I see on YouTube, especially in the producer community, I'm always being neutral before I have an opinion about somebody. So I'm always neutral. And the reason that's important is because I don't just automatically demonize people and become, put them on the other side, if that makes sense. They have to do something or do something to me to make me understand that they need to be put on that other category of people. And what he's saying is, in this music industry, along with everything that comes with content creation, is a lot of people appear to be friends. And I had to redefine the word friends because I was giving people way too much access when I was younger, 20 through, 28 or 29, just giving people way too much access. And what I was doing was, looking at the good in people, which is a great thing to do. You always want to build with the good in people. We all get that. That's not the problem. The problem is we look at the good in people, but then those other people are looking to exploit us in a way that we can't see because we're seeing the good in that person. So if you take what's called the Hexaco score, HEXACO, it stands for honest and I want to say humility. And then you have a score for emotions, and then you have a score for extroversion, and then you have a score for what is it? Acceptability or agreeableness, pardon me. Then you have a score for conscientiousness, and then a score for, I forget what the O stands for, but it's a Hexaco score. And this will give you a better reading of your personality and other people's personalities than the Myers-Briggs and the DISC personality and the INTJ and all those types of personality things that people have out there, those tests. Because what it shows you is that depending on your bias and your Hexaco score, if you're a heavy agreeable person and a heavy honesty person, you might be exploited by a low honesty person and a high X person. Okay, for example, extroverted person who can use charisma, and you're seeing the good of the charisma, and then you get exploited through that. So all Drake's saying is that in this business and business in general, people appear as friends, but you have to understand that I've seen this on Love Island so many times. What is it? Friends stay closer than enemies stay closer than friends. And I used to think that was just a bizarre, like, really? Enemies stay closer than friends? No, they don't. But yes, they do. Enemies pay attention to your content because they want to find flaws in your content. They want to find where you're lacking. They want to find where you have a vulnerability so they can attack. Enemies stay close because they want something that you are desiring as well. That's why you have conflict. When 2 points have a similar outcome or desire, and they're coming at it from two different angles that aren't aligned, you have what's called collision. And this is called elastic collision, when you have things that collide and they go the other way. So when you align intentions with other creators, this is what I try to do behind the scenes, having meetings, calling folks, new content creators that I see in the space. I say, hey, what's your intentions? How can I help you get there? I'm aligning the intentions so that we're not going to conflict over a desire in this case. And that's what enemies try to do. They get close to you so they can learn intel, learn how your business works, get inside information. They want to appear friendly so that you keep telling them secrets of the market and secrets of other people's things and diplomatic things, so that once they gather all that information, they could flip and then become the enemy that they always were. And so in this business and music business and online business, you always have people that appear as friends, but most of you have never gotten to the point where your friend would be tempted by $100,000 opportunity or tempted to cross you for, some whatever opportunity. You've never been in that position to see somebody actually flip. Only until you've seen somebody actually flip will you understand how you may be giving out a lot of trust to folks you call friends who aren't actually building up your business. They're just looking for the perfect time to take that information and run, or get whatever you want and just run with it, or, find your vulnerability and attack. There really are no true friends outside of your dog and your family. That's it. And what I mean by family is your nuclear family, your children, your wife. That's it. Everybody else, you could throw around the word friend all you want. No. Even Drake said it. This is just talented. I just found this talented. Shout out to gospel musicians. They're like the best musicians.
Man, I got work in the morning.
This guy's just funny. I don't even know why that was an accident. How Tubi movies be. This is funny. I'm gonna play this one and then we'll wrap it up because these are the memes that I was saving.
Do we go now?
We
go now?
Yeah.
How Tubi movies be.
Where the hell you been at?
Man, stop tripping. I was with my dog Jay.
So you left me to be with your friend? That's real sassy. What are you?
It's just funny, like it's just
you can't
sarcastic.
Don't take it personal.
All right, that was a meme. This one is actual study case. So this guy now in here is that he's embracing where he's at. He's not trying to appear like he's in a Lamborghini. He's not trying to appear with a bunch of people around him. He's just wherever he is, and he's making music that demonstrates wherever he is. And that's why it stands out. My last lesson for today is contrast. It's about how are you standing out? If everybody's doing one thing, you need to do the opposite to stand out. Contrast is about polar opposites, and marketing is about creating contrast for your brand. If you're not creating that contrast verbally, physically, visually, whatever it is, you're always going to look like the other ones. And if you look like the other ones, it's hard to distinguish the value if you look like everything else. And so a lot of the folks that you'll find that are most influential are very counterculture. They're counter what everybody else wants to go. They're counter the status quo. So here we have an artist. It says DJ Lucas Mass. I saved so many songs of his after watching this video. He makes really good, I think he makes beats too. But it says Western Mass is a different dimension. And he's made a music video in Western Massachusetts.
Don't take it personal, you're getting charged for the feature. I came out 413, I'm tatted just like a barista. Hey, my homie just moved west, he about to join Antifa. Enjoying reefer, talk my talk until I join the Reaper. 30-second drive to Cumbie, split behind my ear. I used to stumble through the darkness trying to find my beer. I've always done some next shit, they used to find it weird. Same shorty used to flex, now she buy my gear. They're talking crazy, I just shoo them off.
So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that he's not in a Lamborghini. He's not trying to be in LA. He's not trying to be in Miami. He's just wherever he is making a video. It just looks the way it looks. Artists need to embrace that difference. That's what, I guess my last point here is how hip hop became very ubiquitous and everybody is making the same hip hop. Before it used to be very regional. It used to be Bay Area, LA hip hop, New York hip hop, Southern hip hop, Midwest hip hop. Everything was different because they focused on the area and the imagery around it and everything that surrounded the area. Once everybody started creating this universal wealth signaling or virtual signaling with Lamborghinis, jets, yachts and all that type of stuff, that's when hip hop became more ubiquitous and it became the same thing, more homogenous, I should say. And it became the same thing when everybody saw Jay-Z and Biggie on the yachts and they just wanted to emulate that to where that became the messaging and there's no differentiate between. Now everybody talks about having cars, this, that, and that. And it's just the same message. And so this is contrasting, standing out because it's not trying to be that.
Down the door when I used to knock. I got love for my haters, man, we used to talk. 30-second drive to Cumbies when I used to walk. This is West Mass music, you won't understand. You ain't never missed the last bus out of Sunderland. 30-second drive to Cumbies turned to 2 hours. I ain't never heard your music, bet they knew ours. Get crunched like a chip.
All right, so he just goes in. I think the next...
Get it all the time. When you see me, you don't say shit, but you tripping out online. I'm from the valley, feel like Miley Cyrus. Every day's the climb. Shorty breaking down them drugs into a thin blue line.
Just clips from his music video of just doing stuff. And it's a lot easier to shoot and edit those videos, I would say.
Hey, shorty, you're really looking nice. Let me take you to the movie. Cause I know you like. You got nothing to worry about. Hold the popcorn and the drink. Let me pay the money so we can get in.
So that's funny because they remixed their beat and probably a sample over another clip of another meme. So you guys can get a lot of attention on social media, leveraging other people's stuff. In this case, the other clip before, they remixed another meme video and put their music behind it, whether they sampled or not. In this video, they're using the AI voices of Patrick and SpongeBob and all the other ones to create these song demos that would have their voice, but they revoiced it as SpongeBob and AI because that's what has the attention right now. So this is what I mean by you have to create content that grabs people's attention and then fit your thing in. So this is a great way to wrap up today's video.
Tech body, girl. And if you fuck on me, no, you're sorry, girl. Let's stay rich, but
when I ready, girl.
Let's stay rich, but
when I ready, girl.
So tech body,
girl. And if you fuck on me, no, you're sorry, girl.
Let's stay rich, but
when I ready, girl.
Let's stay rich, but
when I ready, girl.
She says she want a good fuck, want a good secret. When my cat got shot, be tight, she not keep it. I'm gonna call off, she phone, but she sleeping.
Sorry to tell her she a fuck per.
So it's demonstrating somebody's actual singing ability, but through what everybody's paying attention to right now, which is AI. NVIDIA stock flew up. Therefore, the attention is on AI. How do I fit AI and demonstrate music? That's what music does, is it morphs to whatever the attention is on. I'll end it here. Let me know how you like this new series of responding to what the producer community creates. Thank you guys for watching. It's game from BusyWorksBeats.com. Subscribe for new piece.